So I purchased or used just about every single personal launch monitor in the market that's around $2,000 or less in the past 4 months. And I finally landed on 2 different units, and I have a third one that is currently on back order due to production delays as a result of COVID. And that got me thinking. I spent a lot of time researching these different options, and I decided to put together a guide to show you the best personal launch monitor that you can buy for whatever budget that you decide. Whether you want something to practice indoors over the winter, or you're practicing outside, or maybe you just want a monitor that's going to give you a little bit of fun at the range, or possibly you want something that's a little bit more detailed because you take your competitive game very seriously like I do, this guide is going to help you find the best personal launch monitor for your budget. Let's do it right meow. Thank you very much for tuning in to my YouTube channel. My name is Kenny. Some of you may know me as Kennie Kat. I am a competitive golfer, and this channel is dedicated to my journey on what it takes to become a better competitive golfer. The best compliment you can pay me is a thumbs up, and if you do happen to like this content, please subscribe below. I release content every single week. Now, a lot of launch monitor review videos focus on how accurate these devices are compared to a TrackMan or GC Quad. I'm not going to get into any of that in this video. It has been long established that the radar technology that are in these devices is pretty darn accurate for the most part. Will one unit measure 100 yards while another unit will measure 103 and maybe another unit will spit out 98 yards? Absolutely. Are you skilled enough to where a 5-yard distance is going to make that big of a difference from 100 yards? If you answered yes to that question, then you should probably turn this video off and consider playing golf professionally, because you will be better than the PGA Tour average from 100 yards. I think you get my point. We're going to focus on how the product works in real-world use environments based off of what you're looking to do with the device. I'm going to break this down into 3 basic categories that I think people are going to be using when they're purchasing personal launch monitors. Category 1, recreational and fun. These are users that want a device that can reasonably help them get some basic information while having some fun at the driving range and something to do with the buddies. Reason number 2. You're going to be swing speed training, meaning that you're going to want a device that's going to help you measure how fast your swing speed is increasing and if you are getting faster with whatever workouts you've been doing with your swing speed training. And the third reason is a golf improvement tool. This is the category that I want to purchase a launch monitor for. And this type of user is going to need a tool that's going to give them enough tangible information to measure club gapping, possibly some light adjustments for club testing, get data-driven feedback on swing changes, and work on distance control with every club in the bag and multiple different types of shots. Let's jump straight into recreational fun. If you want a small compact unit that fits in your bag and you can turn it to the golf range and basically turn any range wherever you're at into top golf levels of fun with your buddies, then this is the best launch monitor for you to purchase. The Swing Caddy SC200 Plus. Some of the pros of this device is it can be used indoors with enough reasonable distance between the ball and the net. It has a cool voice prompt that tells you the carry number out loud, which is kind of fun when you're putting the device down on the range and you're trying to, hit balls as far as you can with your buddies. And you got a little device that says, this drive was 275 yards. It's reasonably accurate with short wedges from 30 to 100 yards. It has many games that you can play and distance control games that you can track to see how good you are with your chipping and also how good you are with hitting certain yardages from I think 100 to up to 250 yards. It can also be used to swing speed train because it does measure club head speed without impact to a ball. And it's very simple and easy to set up. You just literally put it about 3 to 4 or 5 feet behind the ball and just select the club number with the remote and just start swinging right away. And it starts picking up the shots. It's very simple, doesn't require a lot of setup. Turn it on, put it down, it auto calibrates, and then you're ready to go. But there are some negatives for this particular type of device. The distance calculations on the drivers and woods that you have in your bag for players that are above 110 miles per hour of swing and club head speed are not really that accurate, and I found them to be very overestimated. It used to give me insane carry numbers. I'm talking 290 yards of carry with 157 miles per hour of ball speed, and that just is not correct at all. It handled every other club in the bag very well and also short games. But if you're a player that swings above 110 miles per hour, and I think it says this in the manual, it's going to have difficulty giving you accurate driving distances within 10 to 15 yards and also swing speeds within, 2 to possibly sometimes 4 miles an hour. With all that being said, this is the best recreational launch monitor device that you can buy, and it has a lot of really good features that help you practice short game and works very well with a lot of the other clubs. Just that if you happen to swing more than 110 miles an hour, it's probably not going to be the most accurate device for your driver. And also 3-wood if you happen to swing your 3-wood above 110 miles per hour. Pretty much any club that swings more than 110 miles per hour. If you're going to be swing speed training, you need a device that can measure high club head speeds above 108 miles per hour that will allow you to measure the ball speed and also the club head speed without the ball. And the PRGR Black is the best unit in the market that you can buy for swing speed training. This device is almost as accurate as a TrackMan or GC Quad for swing speeds. It does measure the toe of the club as opposed to the center of the club, but if you're consistently using this device, it is going to be very accurate on swing speed. And if I'm not mistaken from the brochure, this covers swing speeds that are up to 150 miles an hour, which, unless you happen to be a long drive pro champion, I don't think you're going to be maxing out at those distances anytime soon. Another pro is it's extremely accurate with ball speed. I found the ball speed on this to be very similar to what I see on my TrackMan data, and it's extremely accurate with carry distance. I know for a fact that when this device tells me that it carried 279 or whatever the number may be, it's usually within a few yards of what that total number is. And then another thing is that it does work decently well into a net as long as you have enough space. So I actually returned the SC200 Plus for this device specifically for my swing speed training just because it is so accurate with the driver. And that was the only reason that I didn't keep the SC200 Plus. This gives me driver numbers, swing speed numbers, ball speed numbers that are within 1 to 3 miles an hour of what I've seen on TrackMan and also within a few yards of what I see on TrackMan. So I know that when I'm working on driver delivery or driver speed, whatever the case may be, when this device spits out a number, it's going to be an accurate number that I can take to the course and I can take to a competitive round. The only downfall to this device, and this is a big downfall, and this is the reason why it's only in the category of swing speed training. This device is utterly 100% useless when it comes to short game shots. Unless you're hitting something that's going 130 yards or more, this device will not pick it up reasonably accurately or even at all. Like, don't even bother trying. I know there's people that have use the thing on the back here. Sorry, I got my phone for my notes. I know there's been people that have successfully used the little thing here to put it on a tripod and angle it into the ball. Don't even bother with it. If you have any needs of swing speed training and short game, this device is absolutely useless when it comes to wedge game shots. That is why it is in the category for best launch monitor for swing speed training. The PRGR Black is a bit of a one-trick pony. It'll do your club gapping well, and it'll give you your driver distance, but that's about it. And last but not least, golf improvement tool. So we've got the Mevo Flight Scope, the Earnest Sports ESB1, the Swing Caddy 300, and then the MLM Rapsodo. All of these units will give you accurate carry distance, club speed, and ball speed numbers. But I want to take a step away from the accuracy of these units because they're all reasonably accurate if you're going to be using them as a game improvement tool. Let's talk about some of the specifics between these three devices. So coming in third place is going to be the MLM Rapsodo. I really do love some of the features in this device. They are really clever, but this unit has a few just operational downfalls that make it really difficult to use in a real world setting. The biggest downfall is that it doesn't provide spin. Now, this is not something that's going to be uber important to every single person, but if you're someone like me that wants to optimize your driver distance You're gonna need to know spin numbers. If you're working on swing changes and you wanna know how different deliveries are going to impact your wedges and some of your scoring irons, it's a crucial thing to have. And it's unfortunate because every other competitor in this price range offers spin. So it's just one of those things that stands out that, like, why does this device not have spin measured with the unit? The second biggest operational downfall is that it has to use your phone in order for it to work. An iPhone is pretty much non-usable anything past 85 degrees in direct sunlight. That makes this device practically unusable for anyone who needs to practice outdoors in a warm weather climate. The runner-up are the Swing Caddy 300 and the ESB1. I placed these two units in the same category because I honestly could not determine a realistic difference in these units. They are about the same size and their apps are both very similar. You know, with the exception of the calculation in Swing Caddy sometimes tends to be a bit too on the overgenerous side with drivers. There really isn't much to complain about in both of these devices. They set up behind you, they're really easy to use, they're pretty much plug and play, point and shoot. Both units will give you good ball speed, good carry numbers, good club head speed, good launch angle, good apex, good smash factor, and they will give you spin. And the only problem with these two launch monitors is that this next unit costs the exact same and it's just a little bit better. And that's this guy right here, the Flight Scope Mevo. Is that too bright? Doesn't matter, you don't need to come here for the photos. I feel like Bryson DeChambeau in the commercial. But the Flight Scope Mevo. Just for references, I am not sponsored or paid by any of these companies. I bought all of these devices with my own hard-earned money, had to return quite a few of them. So I'm just giving you my own personal experience. Let's talk about the Flight Scope Mevo. The Mevo should win this, and we should expect the Mevo to be the best product in the market because it makes a device that genuinely competes with the TrackMan, which is like the standard of launch monitors. For starters, let's just talk about the size of the device. It's hard to believe that something this tiny could literally be so darn good and have all of the accuracy that some of these larger launch monitors in the market do, but it definitely does. And I like the fact that this thing fits into this little carrying pouch. It comes with a carrying pouch or a little yellow pouch, but I got a hard protective case because it's 550 bucks and I don't want to break it. I like the fact that I can put this little device in this cool little carrying case that I did buy on Amazon and has a little cable in here. I can zip this bad boy up. And as you can see, it's about the same size as a rangefinder. And this stays in my bag 24/7. I love the fact that it's something that I can carry with as opposed to the other units, which are a little bit larger and more cumbersome that aren't really something that I would keep in my bag 24/7. It's no shocker that this device is accurate. The spin numbers, the launch numbers, and the carry distance are well within reason, even for a professional golfer. You could be someone that plays on the PGA Tour and use this device and get the correct information that you need before heading into a legitimate tournament that you're going to play for a few $1 million. I apologize in advance if the lighting has all of a sudden changed. The sun is going down and I have to turn on my extra side lit light. Camera stuff, I don't want to really get into it, but back to this. The third point is short game. And thank you very much, Andrew Jensen Golf, for doing such a great review on how the Mevo works with short game. It is the most accurate and the most useful device that I have tested out of all the launch monitors mentioned in this entire review for short game shots. You put it into pitching mode and it will pick up basically any shot that you can hit that's not a hosel or a shank from 20 yards all the way up to 100 yards. And it will give you accurate launch, it will give you accurate spin, it will give you accurate carry. Numbers that if you're a competitive golfer, you need to practice on because knowing how to hit a 50, 75, 80, or 100 yard shot are so crucial to you being able to score. I've gone on way too long with this point. Let's get on to something else. And the fourth final thing is the app allows you to record with your phone or any iOS, Android device from any direction, front on, side on, back on, behind you, whatever direction you want, and store to FlightScope's online database. And it stores that to FlightScope's online database so that you can send that information to your coach. That right there is one of the biggest things that I think makes this so much better than all the other devices. I can send Kurt a swing, I can send him launch information, I can send him club information, and he can pretty much virtually, knowing my swing and knowing my body and kind of how we've worked together, he can pretty much diagnose anything that's going on with that information and also video. And I think FlightScope did a very good job of packing all that technology into this little teeny tiny device. But there are some cons. The app is a bit outdated. It hasn't been like updated to the new iOS, and it's a bit sluggish at times. When using the video functionality especially, it takes a very long time for it to buffer and load because it's going through Bluetooth and it's sending video at like, what, 720p or whatever the case may be. Also need to have the app open at all times in order for you to like read the data off of it. That is one of the setbacks, but I normally just have the phone in my pocket. But that's not really a downfall because if you were using a TrackMan or something like that, you'd have to have a device like an iPad that reads the data. So yeah, just being honest, you know, like you gotta have your phone on, or you gotta have the phone in your pocket, or you gotta have the phone somewhere where you can like see the data and it has to be open and connected to the Bluetooth app. You need to have a decent amount of space between you and the ball for higher swing speeds, up to 7 feet. And in some instances, you may need to have a little bit more depending on the conditions that you're hitting the ball in. This actually brings me to a big point that I wanted to talk about in relation to all of these launch monitors. I think that a lot of these launch monitors get an unfair rap for their indoor inaccuracy. And I'm just going to tell you something that I don't think any of the companies will say. Every single monitor, launch monitor, otherwise in the market, is going to struggle with indoor net reading accuracy if you don't have at least 10 feet of space for the ball to travel, because they use radar to detect the ball and or the club and the ball. Realistically, unless you have about 12 to 15 feet for that ball to travel into a net, and another 5 to 7 feet behind the ball to place a unit, all of these radar units are going to have some issue. And I've seen that time and time again in reviews where people are upset because, oh, it's not accurate, inside doors, it's not accurate, it's not accurate, it's not accurate. No, it is accurate. You just don't have the space. Even a TrackMan needs 15 feet from the ball to the net in order for it to effectively pick up the data that it needs. It's not a device problem. It's a limitation on the current technologies that we have as human beings for radar, and I don't think any of these monitors should get a bad rap for it. If you are going to practice with any device at home in a net, just know that unless you've got pretty much about 15 feet for the ball to travel into the net, you're not going to get very accurate readings. And most people don't have an extra spare living room to set up their launch monitor. So they're setting these things up, 6, 7, 8, 9 feet in front of a net, and then they're getting upset when they're getting poor results. That's not really how these devices are designed. I've said my piece on that. Do with it what you will. Are you in the market for a personal launch monitor? Do you have any other questions that I can help you with? Let me know in that comment section below. I would love to hear from you. As always, thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel. Deuces, people. Let's keep it moving.